Good morning, people. This is your boy, John Mann, aka the Nappy Assassin, aka I Am Manny's son, aka the Catman, aka the world's worst football prognosticator. Yes, and this is my debut broadcast of the Catmann Audibles, all things NFL related, so to speak. I always talk about football on a professional level on this particular show. You know, my weekly predictions, my previews of NFL games. I do watch a little bit of game film. I'm a junkie like that. That Game Pass is something serious. Um, as you see, I am rocking the old school Randall. Randall Cunningham, a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fans. For those who do not know, um, so I'll try to look at things through my lens, not with the Eagles bias and everything like that. But I'm glad that y'all here to join me in my debut of this program. And for those who do not know, so to speak, um, earlier this season, I made preseason picks, and since we're a quarter way through the season, just wanted to see how I look before I get into this week's actions and these predictions and the picks and everything like that. Shout out to my boy Pedro Lima. We have a running bet, the Rican Gorilla, where we do our weekly picks against each other, and that will be coming up a little bit later after I go through my weekly picks. But without further ado, I'm going to talk about my preseason picks and see where I stand. And in the AFC this year, I had New England winning the AFC East, with Buffalo finished second, Miami in third, and the Jets in last place. We're going to talk about that for a little bit. I still feel confident in my pick with New England winning the division. But one thing I will say, and I admit that I am wrong so far because I can admit that I'm wrong. I underestimated Josh Allen with Buffalo. I thought the big difference between Buffalo and New England would be the quarterback position. I am completely wrong. Josh Allen is balling. He is lights out this year. And he's probably the main reason that Buffalo is undefeated. His accuracy has improved quite tremendously, and we already know what type of runner he is. He is probably right now the most dangerous dual threat quarterback as we speak. But I don't think he's the best dual threat. But right now, I just think he's the most dangerous, just for the simple fact of his physicality and the way he's, dropping dimes. In the AFC North, I had Baltimore win the division with Pittsburgh finishing second, Cleveland in third, and Cincinnati in last place. And I am still confident with those picks, but with the records that I had, I'm not as confident in those. I had Cleveland going 7-9, Pittsburgh 11-5, Baltimore 12-4. I think Cleveland is going to do a little bit better than 7-9, but I still think they're going to follow behind Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I think Baltimore is the crown jewel of that division. Even with that loss to Kansas City, I still think they're the best team in that division. Also, in the preseason, I had in the AFC South, I had Houston. Well, I was completely wrong about this. I had Houston, Tennessee, the Colts, and Jacksonville. And I can honestly say that this division has blown up on me. I did not see Houston going 0-4 to start off the season, and that is quite disappointing because of the talent they have, at the quarterback position and the little bit of talent they had on offense. I underestimated that. But what I really didn't know, and since I don't have the inner workings of anybody, is the dynamic of the coach, Bill O'Brien. But I think things will turn around for them. I think they'll be able to breathe a little bit easier since he is out. Will they be able to turn back around and win the division like I predicted? No, I don't think that's going to be the case. I do not think they're going to win the division. And Indy's playing the best ball in that division. Even though Tennessee is undefeated, but Indy is playing the best ball, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Their defense has just been lights out all season. Mr. Rivers is not shot, so he is playing pretty good football, and I think they'll be improving along the way. Jacksonville is Jacksonville, so there is no need to discuss that or speak about that. They'll finish last. In the AFC West, I had Kansas City win the division. I had Denver in second, with the Raiders in third, and the Chargers tied with the Raiders. I had both the Chargers and the Raiders at 5-11. I think the Raiders will probably do better than 5-11 after the first few weeks that I watched. Same with the Chargers, but I do not think neither one of them will be better than Denver. I think Denver still will finish at second, but nobody's catching Kansas City. Now, the playoff seeds that I had at the preseason, I had Baltimore as the number 1 seed. I had Kansas City at the number 2 seed. I had Houston at number 3. I have New England number 4. I had Pittsburgh number 5, and I had Tennessee and Denver rounding out to make the playoffs in the AFC. As of right now, I thought Baltimore in the beginning of the season would beat Kansas City and hold that tiebreaker over Kansas City, but it seems like Kansas City will have the tiebreaker. So I still think it'll be 1-2. I am completely wrong about Houston. So they will not have the number 3 seed in any capacity unless a miracle happens and they run the table. So I am incorrect about that so far, but I am still going to go through the rest of my playoff picks that I had in the preseason for those who have not seen my Facebook post, or those just for transparency. So when the end of the season come, you can't say that I did not make this thing up or anything like that. I am the world's worst football prognosticator, and it is showing going into week 5 of the season. The playoffs picks that I had in the wild card, I had Kansas City over Denver. I had Tennessee over Houston. I had the Steelers over New England. In the divisional round, I have Baltimore over Tennessee, and I had Kansas City over Pittsburgh. And in the conference championship, I had Baltimore over KC. Now, the one thing I will say is this. I am still sticking with Baltimore coming out of the AFC. Granted that if they do have the same record with Kansas City, they will be playing in Arrowhead if they both are 1-2. And I still think that Baltimore will win the rematch in the playoffs. I think they'll get better. I think their offense will expand a little bit as the season gets a little bit longer. But if they don't open up that offense, that will be a disservice to Lamar Jackson. I believe that Lamar Jackson has the ability to throw the ball and has the ability to make plays as a passer. And I think Mr. Roman needs to open up that offense a little bit more for him, because it's getting a little bit too predictable. You can't bank on his 4.3 speed to get you out of trouble. My offensive player of the year out of the AFC is Patrick Mahomes. Um, my defensive player of the year, I predicted is T.J. Watt for the Steelers. My offensive rookie of the year in the preseason I picked was Henry Ruggs for the Raiders. Defensive rookie of the year, I had Kayvon Chasen for Jacksonville. My AFC comeback player of the year was Cameron Newton. And now we're going to move over to my NFC picks, which obviously weren't any better than my AFC picks. They were just as horrible. But my NFC picks that I had this season, I'm going to start with the NFC East. I had Philly and Dallas tied for the division, with the Eagles winning the tiebreaker, finishing first, Dallas in second, the Giants in third, and the Washington Football Club in last place. That is the worst division in the NFL. It's just completely horrible. The football is horrendous. The Eagles look horrible on offense. The Cowboys look horrible on defense. The Giants just look horrible everywhere. They can't put points on the board. And I don't even know what's going on in Washington. But I still feel confident in those predictions. I still think Philadelphia will win the division. That's not a homer pick. That's just what I believe. Dallas's defense, unless Dallas's defense turns around, it's going to be a long season. And unless the Eagles' offense turn around, it's going to be a long season. So it's whatever side of the ball gets better first that's going to win that division. I don't believe the Giants or Washington have a chance of winning the division. But who knows? I'm the world's worst prognosticator. So that's that. My predictions in the NFC North, I had Green Bay win the division, with Minnesota finishing second. Tied with Minnesota had Chicago. And in last place, I had Detroit. Full transparency, I had Green Bay going 9-7, Minnesota, Chicago both going 8-8, and Detroit going 7-9. I'm going to be wrong. I think Green Bay is going to win more than 9 games. I think 8-8 sounds about right still for Miami, for Minnesota and Chicago. And I believe that Detroit will get to 7 games, make it a little tough for them to get rid of Matt Patricia, but I don't think Matt Patricia is going to last past this season, but he's going to make it quite interesting. In the NFC South, I have Tampa Bay winning the division. I had the Saints in second. I had the Falcons in third, and I have Carolina in last place. I had the Bucks at 12-4. I had Carolina 10-6, Atlanta 9-7. I'm sorry, the Saints 10-6, Atlanta 9-7, and Carolina at 6-10. I am confident with the order of the division that I picked. I'm not swaying. I still think it's going to finish that way. I think I'm a little bit off on the record. Tampa Bay lost Thursday, and I wasn't expecting that. And they're not a disciplined football team. They're like one of the most penalized football teams in the league. And until they get that squared away, they'll let teams that they're supposed to beat stay in the ball game and make it close and make it tough. But I still think they're the best team in the division. I like Brady over Breeze. I think Breeze is shot, but they do enough to mask that to make it interesting. And in the NFC West, I had Seattle win the division at 12-4, San Fran second, 11-5, Arizona 7-9, and the Rams 6-10 in last place. And I'm still going to stick with that. I think Seattle has the worst defense in the league, but they have the number one offense in the league. The difference between them and the Cowboys, not the number one offense, I take that back. I believe they're second or third in offense. The Cowboys have the number one offense in the league. But the difference between them and the Cowboys, because the Cowboys set like 31st and Seattle's 32nd in defense. The difference between those two is that Seattle has been able to get turnovers. So that is what's really keeping them, undefeated, and that's what's really is probably the second reason behind the marvelous play of Russell Wilson, who I think is the best quarterback in the league. So if you have any comments or anything like that, please feel free to drop a line or whatever, what you think so far. My playoff seeds for the NFC, I have Tampa Bay as the number 1 seed. I had Seattle as the number 2 seed. Had Philadelphia as the number 3 seed. I had Green Bay at the number 4 seed. Had San Fran at the number 5 seed. I had Dallas as the number 6 seed. And I had the Saints as the number 7 seed. Full transparency. I had in the wild card Seattle over New Orleans. Had the Eagles over the Cowboys. I had San Fran over Green Bay. In the divisional round, I had Tampa over San Fran, and I had Seattle over Philadelphia. And in the conference championship game, even though I had Tampa Bay as the number 1 seed, I had Seattle beating Tampa Bay on the road to go to the Super Bowl. Now, I am off. I believe all of those teams will make the playoffs, except I don't think it's 2 teams. Well, let me take that back. I don't believe there'll be 2 teams coming out of the NFC East. So either Dallas or Philly will not make the cut. By my estimation, I believe. So as of right now, I don't even know who would be representing the NFC East. I'm still going to stick with my pick with Philly winning the NFC East and representing the extra wild card. Is really up for grabs right now. In the NFC, it could be Chicago. It could be Detroit or Minnesota. It could the second. You know what I'm saying? The extra wild card could come out of the NFC North, but I definitely don't think it will come out of the NFC East. My offensive player of the year, and this is where I was definitely wrong, was Saquon Barkley. We all know what happened to him. So unless the season ends last year, there is no way it will be offensive player of the year. That was my preseason pick. My defensive player of the year, I was wrong about it. No, this one, half of this is wrong. I had a tie between Nick Bosa and San Fran and Shaq Barrett in Tampa Bay. My offensive rookie of the year was Cam Akers. That doesn't look like that was going to happen. I thought that he would have a bigger impact with the offense with the Rams. That doesn't look like the case. He's inconsistent as far as his running, and plus health doesn't help. His health is kind of shaky as well. My defensive rookie of the year, I had Javon Kinlaw for San Francisco. My NFC comeback player of the year was Matthew Stafford. And to finish off my preseason picks, my preseason MVP pick was Russell Wilson. And my Super Bowl pick is Seattle over Baltimore 31-27. All right, that's that. You won't be hearing me going into a long dialogue about my preseason picks anytime soon. We might revisit my preseason picks after the 8th or 9th week of the season. So if you have any questions, concerns, if you want to get on board, leave me a comment or two. Look forward to hearing from you. Those who just checked in, this is the new broadcast from John Mann, the Catmann Audibles. I am the Catman, also known as the Nappy-Headed Assassin, also known as I Am Manny's Son, and also known as the world's worst prognosticator. Now we're going into the week 5 picks, a little bit of previews with week 5, and I'm going to run through these games real quick before I get to my picks. And if anybody want to be a part of the pick process, the Catman versus the world, and pick against me and Pedro Lima, the Rican Gorilla, shoot me a message on Instagram at JohnManBaby, or you can shoot me a message on at Catmann Sports. That's CatmannDosports on Instagram. Make this little interactive at the end of the show. You can come on, make your picks with the kid, and we'll make picks against the spirit of the Rican Gorilla. But I'm going to get through these weekly games, so to speak. First game I want to talk about is the Panthers and the Falcons. The Falcons, for some reason, are favored. I don't know why, but these are a couple of keys to victories that I believe that for both teams. We're going to run through these keys of victories, or one key to victory, so to speak. The number one key to victory for the Panthers, I believe, is to get pressure on Matt Ryan. The Panthers have the second worst quarterback pressure in the league. They don't have any type of pass rush. Their rookie, Yator Matos, got his first sack last week for the Panthers, and they really need to buckle down and find a way to improve that pass rush, because teams are picking them apart. But they're still finding a way to win. Teddy Bridgewater last week had a big game, 3 total touches, and over 300 yards total offense. The Falcons, what they need to do, number one thing they need to do is run the ball. They have to run the ball against Carolina. Carolina gives up 5 yards per carry on the ground. They just really have to run the ball, and they really have to find a way to score in the second half. I believe they've been outscored 86-44, something like that, in the second half of games. But once I get that figured out, they should be okay. I'll be giving my picks on the games a little bit later. Second game I want to talk about real quick, Raiders and the Chiefs. The number one thing for the Raiders in this game, the Raiders got to tackle. The Raiders have the most missed tackles in the league. I don't believe that you can't beat Kansas City without sure tackling. They also got to get Jacob going, because, believe it or not, Kansas City has a problem stopping the run. Their defense is solid, but they're still giving up over 5 yards per carry. I think because of the offense that Kansas City runs, teams don't run as much, forced to play catch up. Now, for Kansas City, all Kansas City have to do is just be Kansas City. Nothing more, nothing less. That too much speed for that Raiders defense. And Mahomes should be able to pick them apart. And that's all I will say about that game. Rams versus Washington. The main key to victory for the Rams is make Washington stay on the field, have long, extended drives. Um, Washington cannot get off the field defensively. They're in the bottom third of defensive plays per drive. The Rams have to capitalize on that. For Washington, they got they have Kyle Allen starting. So it's just pretty much simple for Kyle Allen. It's just this. For the key for Washington to win is Kyle Allen not turn over the ball. Kyle Allen, in 9 losses last year as a starter, or 9 losses in his career as a starter, he turned the ball over 18 times in those 9 losses. And his 6 wins, he has the 11-1 touchdown to interception turnover ratio. It's pretty much that simple. Kyle Allen, Washington's really depleted on offense, but the coaching in Washington, Rivera, didn't pretty much have a pretty good game plan. And if Kyle Allen doesn't turn over the ball, this game will be a whole lot closer than people would think. The Cardinals and the Jets is the next game I want to talk about. The Jets is the worst team in the NFL. They're MESS. Mess. They're horrible on offense. They're horrible on defense. Just put this in perspective. The two New York teams that represent the city of New York are the bottom 2 scoring offenses in the league. Their point totals combined is less than Buffalo's, which is crazy. Both teams combined is like 23 points a game between the Jets and the Giants. So the Jets is just horribly on offense. Now the Jets defense is pretty solid. So if they can find a way to move the ball on offense, their defense is solid enough that they should be able to win a couple of games. What they need to do in this game is crack Arizona's bend, don't break defense. Arizona gives up a lot of yards, but their red zone defense is pretty solid. They're in the top third in defensive red zone scoring. So you can move the ball all day up and down the field against Arizona. But once you get inside of 20, they do make it tough for them to score. If the Jets can crack the code on that, then maybe they could pull out a victory. Now for the Cardinals, they have to find a way to get pressure, man. They have literally no hits on the quarterback, and they have literally no sacks whatsoever. And if you can't get pressure on the quarterback, this will be the perfect game to jumpstart that defensive pressure. And if they're not able to jumpstart this pass rush this week, I might have to reassess them at the end of the year as far as my picks. Next game I want to talk about is the Eagles versus the Steelers. Like I said, all these picks with Pedro picks will be coming right after the show. Right after my quick previews and my quick rundowns. The same thing. I have the same key to victory for both Philadelphia and the Steelers. For the Eagles, they have to protect Carson. Pittsburgh is number 1 in quarterback pressure. And Carson gets a little happy feet when he's dealing with pressure. And he tends to turn the ball over when there is traffic around his feet. So with the hodgepodge offensive line that Philadelphia has, they need to find a way to make sure they keep him upright and give him a clean pocket. The offensive weapons that Carson is playing with is nil. But we've seen them win with minimal offensive talent, or you know what I'm saying, supreme offensive talent. Now with the Steelers, it's the same way. They need to protect Ben. The Eagles are number one in the league in sacks, and they're in the top third in quarterback hits. The Eagles have been getting out after the quarterback. They've been laying wood to the quarterback. Ask Joe Burrows about the Eagles laying wood. So if the Eagles get pressure, if the Eagles get pressure, then this will be a different game. But the Steelers have to do to protect Ben, and if they protect Ben, it could be a long day for my beloved Eagles. The next game, quickly want to run through Jaguars Texans. For the Texans, all they have to do is play free, man. They don't got Bill O'Brien. So all the stuff that came out about Bill O'Brien, how nobody likes him, all that stuff, that cloud is removed. Maybe that should give them some freedom to move around, whatever the case may be. They're not running around walking on eggshells or anything like that. I don't know, from an offensive defensive standpoint, I don't think there's going to be much improvement. But if you're able to be free, that's the most improvement that you will have. So the Texans, the key to victory is just be happy they don't have Bill O'Brien. You know, take it like that. Now for the Jaguars, they need to get the running game going. The Texans got the worst run defense in the league. That is not improving because Bill O'Brien left. They are that bad on defense. They have the worst defense, one of the worst defenses in the league. If the Jags get the running game going, they should be able to jumpstart that run game. The Texans give up close to 6 yards per carry on the ground. So if Jacksonville can maximize that, we should see a pretty good season. A pretty good game from Jacksonville. Dolphins and 49ers. The number one thing for the Dolphins, what they need to do is convert drives. The Dolphins are number 4 in plays per drive. So that means they are moving the ball and they're getting first downs. But they're last in scoring, in the bottom third in scoring. So what they need to do is start converting those long drives into some type of points. And the 49ers, they get Jimmy G back. Quarterback play was sketchy last week for the 49ers. Now they should have a little bit more stability this week. And that should be enough against the Dolphins. Colts, Browns, like I said, the Colts are the most surprising team to me this year. Their defense is lights out. And also Frank Reich have done a great job with Phillip Rivers. Everybody thought that Phillip Rivers was done. He is not done. The offensive weapons, especially with Jonathan Taylor, they look pretty good. Their defense is 4th against the run. And the reason why I bring that up, because the Browns have the number 1 rushing offense. The Browns are averaging 6.9 yards per carry. The Colts are only allowing 3.6 yards per carry. That's something got to give. Something got to give in that standpoint. What I like to see is how the Colts will be able to handle that rushing offense by the Browns. Next game is the Giants and the Cowboys. We'll start with the Cowboys. The Cowboys have the 31st worst defense in the league. But what's even more disturbing is that 1 out of 2 defensive drives, they allow touchdowns. That is crazy. So the every other drive from the opponent, they're giving up a touchdown. You cannot win games like that. You know, as an Eagle fan, I don't have a problem with it. But as someone who loves football and watches football, something has to be done. As far as that Dallas defense, they need to figure something out quick. They don't have a leak. They have the Titanic. They hit the iceberg, and it doesn't matter how many yards Dak throws for or how many yards that offense put up because they have the number one offense. They shouldn't have to put up 450, 500 yards per game. No team should have to do that. But the Cowboys are forced to do that because they can't stop anybody. You know, Texas A&M. All right, I'm lying. Maybe not. But no, with all that said, no, the defense for Dallas will have to improve. And if there's a game that is going to be would spark that improvement, it would be against the Giants, who have the second worst scoring offense in the league. A couple of minutes ago, I mentioned that they and the Jets are the bottom two of scoring offense in the league. The Giants can't put points on the board, but the Giants can move the ball though, and which is that you know what I'm saying, which is surprising. They just can't score, and they have ill-advised penalties that there's no right or proper time to have penalties. But the Giants have had some of those that stalled some pretty key drives. What the Giants need to do is establish a running game against these Cowboys. Cowboys are 31st against the run. Everybody and their mother is running through the Cowboys. They make it seem so easy. And I do not get joy out of bashing the Cowboys as an Eagle fan. But I do become giddy about talking about the Cowboys. But no, seriously, the Giants definitely need to establish a running game. They're playing against the Cowboys, who's 31st against the run. The Cowboys just need to hope they can stop the Giants, because if the Cowboys can't stop the Giants and the Giants put up points, it's a done deal. It's over and done with. I will write the season off for the Cowboys early. I don't believe in writing the season off before week 10. But if they can't stop the Giants, it's just going to be a super long season with the Cowboys. Next game, Vikings at Seattle. The key for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins don't turn over the ball. Last week was the first game that he did not turn over the ball this season, and it was the first game that they won. It's that simple. Minnesota had a couple of close calls this season, so I don't think they're as bad as their record says. And I believe this might be a turning point for Kirk Cousins. Seattle, they're last in total defense. You can move the ball in Seattle, so that'll bode well for Minnesota. But what also bodes well for Seattle is that Kirk Cousins turned over the ball, and Seattle turns the ball over. So if Minnesota is able to move the ball and not turn over the ball, they'll have a great chance of beating Seattle, because Seattle has been able to stop anybody anyway. But they also have that kid named Mr. Wilson, who is dangerous. And when he's behind center, I will put all my chips to the table to lead a team to victory. The Seahawks are third in forcing turnovers. 18% of the defensive drives against them resort into a turnover, which is fifth in the league. That's a pretty good percentage. So they are getting turnovers at a high rate. And if they're still able to do that this week, they shouldn't have a problem. If not, it will be tough. Chargers Saints. The Saints are fourth in defensive yards per carry. They're stout against the run game. They only giving up a little bit over 3.5 yards per carry. Ironically, the Chargers need to open up the running game, take some pressure off the young quarterback. Your young quarterback's been playing outstanding for a rookie so far this year. But if they open up that running game, take a little bit of pressure off of him, make sure that he doesn't put him in a position that he has to turn over the ball in dangerous or crucial situations. He played real good last week against the Bucks. Started out like his hair was on fire. Then after that, the Bucks, came back. Brady became Brady, and then we saw how that ended. But he did impress me last week. Shows that nobody was talking about him as far as top rookie quarterback. There is a few people, outside of his family and outside of the Chargers. But if the running game, if they protect him in the running game, that should be a pretty close to a victory for the Chargers. But I'm not gonna tip my hand yet. Last game, Buffalo and Tennessee. I spoke about Josh Allen earlier. Josh Allen is, I don't believe in an MVP. I don't believe in MVP talk after 4 weeks. But if we're going to have MVP talks after 4 weeks, we have to put Josh Allen in that conversation. He's been balling. He's been lights out. He has definitely been easily the best quarterback right now in the AFC. He's been playing the best. He's been playing the best ball in the AFC. Better than Mahomes, better than Jackson, better than Newton as of right now. That could change throughout the season. But from an AFC standpoint, nobody's playing better at the quarterback position than Josh Allen, making me eat humble pie, making me put my foot in my mouth. I did not have any confidence in Josh Allen whatsoever, and he has proved me wrong so far. I'm not going to wish any ill will on him because I want to be right. That's not how I work or operate. I'm happy for the kid that he was able to turn it around. Now, as far as Tennessee is concerned, Tennessee is 4th in total defense. So the defense is pretty strong, but that's a little bit misleading because they're giving up 6.5 yards per play, which is high. So if they're able to, if they're able to knock some of that down and get that to about 4 yards per play, 3 yards per play, I don't think anybody will beat Tennessee, especially Buffalo. But everybody's falling apart in Tennessee. There's a lot of stuff going on. They're legitimately running the COVID-19 defense, which is not something to joke about, but it's just the reality of it. That COVID-19 defense is affecting everything, affecting them, affecting the league, but and it's definitely going to affect this game. But I believe that if they play smarter, if they can play stingier with that bend don't break defense, they will be in a better situation. And without further ado, this is the moment that I've been waiting for. This is the moment that I've been waiting for. Is my pick section. Last week I was 9-6 with my picks. My overall record for the season is 36, 26, and 1. I bounced back from that horrible week 1, that tragic week 1 where I only got like 6 games correct in week 1. And people were laughing at me. I had messages on my Instagram telling me I should never pick again and all that because I am the world's worst prognosticator. Mr. Pedro Lima last week went 10-5. I went 9-6. So our records at the bottom and our head-to-head competition. Our head-to-head competition is that we playing 5 cents per game. And then at the end of the season, whoever's up, that's what they get. So it could be as much as, I don't know, $20 or as low as 5 cents. We're playing a nickel a game to see who has the better record head-to-head picking these games. Pedro last week went 10-6. I'm sorry, 10-5. Last week I went 9-6. If you want to be a part of the show next week and be a part of the picks, feel free to drop me a line. You can send me a message on my Facebook, John Man Baby, or you can send me a message through my Instagrams, which is at John Man Baby or Catmann Sports, which is CatMannDosports. Both of those on Instagram. Get you on here, do a little quick interview, and then go with the picks. Without further ado, here's my picks for this week. Me and Mr. Lima, the Rican Gorilla, started with the Panthers and the Falcons. I have Carolina. Pedro has Atlanta. Bengals versus the Ravens. We both have the Ravens. Raiders versus the Chiefs. We both have the Chiefs. Rams versus Washington. Both of us have the Rams. The Cardinals versus the Jets. Both of us have the Cardinals. The Eagles versus the Steelers. Yes, there's a homer pick. I've got the Eagles. Pedro has the Steelers. Jags versus the Texans. We both have the Texans. Dolphins versus the 49ers. We both have the 49ers. Colts and the Browns. I have the Colts. Pedro has the Browns. Vikings at Seattle. We both have Seattle. Chargers versus the Saints. Both of us have the Saints. And Buffalo at Tennessee. I have Buffalo. He has Tennessee. I'm glad y'all came to check me out. It was a little bit rough. First edition of the Catmann Audibles. Feel free to add me on Instagram at John Man Baby and also at Catmann Sports. And also subscribe to both my YouTube channels where I'll be having content. That's John Man Baby on YouTube and Catmann Sports at YouTube. Also on Twitch as well, John Man Baby. And matter of fact, almost all and every social media platform, you can find me at John Man Baby. Catmann Sports will be coming with pages soon. Thank you for checking me out. Hope to see you next week. I'll be doing this every Sunday, approximately around between 10 and 10:30 Central Time, 11 and 11:30 on the East, 9:30 to the mountains, and 8 to 8:30 out west. Thank you for spending your time with me. My name is John Man, a.k.a. the nappy-headed assassin, a.k.a. I am Manny's son, a.k.a. the world's worst football prognosticator, and a.k.a. the Catman. Thank you for checking me out. The Catmann Audibles. See you next week. Love y'all.